and things that we can do in the classroom to help, because we need students that are prepared to come in to take our courses. Our customers need to have a better, have prepared employees for those coming outside of what we may be able to provide as well. So we are all tied to and connected to this thing. So I wanted to talk about our own training strategy. For one of the things, as you can see listed there, discover the problem. So what does that mean? That means that sometimes we may not necessarily tell the student what the problem is. The student actually has to discover the problem. For instance, in our human factors course that we teach, we do very, very little pre-teach. Very little. Basically what we do is that we let them know that they're in the right course. We tell them how long it's going to be there. And then we put them into our first exercise. And the purpose of the exercise is for them to be able to discover the principles behind human factors, which is basically being able to reduce the risk of designing error into their process. So we'll start a student out with something like, so why do you think that you're trying to be on time for work? You got 3 kids. How do you be on time? What do you think makes you late? So, and then we'll throw a situation in there. Okay, now it's raining. So, and then having them to kind of go back through that process and redesign all over again with this new set of challenges. And we do that before we even start to really kind of teach the content per se, because we are teaching for particular employers sometimes, or at a particular employer's site. So there's some content that we have to deliver that they expect for us to deliver associated with human factors. Describe the problem in writing and verbally as well. You don't have to have like essay writing skills, but you do have to be able to communicate what your problem or what your thought is verbally and in writing. We're finding that is a problem, especially like in the maintenance careers where you have these shift changes and you have to have these brief descriptions of things that you maybe did not quite complete, and you have to talk to someone about it, or you have to write it. It's very, very important there's continuity in situations like that. And then you have to find the cause. Like, sometimes there is a root cause. There might be a bit of information missing that, and the software won't process it because of that. There might be a particular information missing, and then someone cannot complete what they need to do to be able to make sure that the job is done. You can use previous knowledge, manuals, equipment, but at the end of the day, there also has to be a product, and that product insists is data or things or facts that you have collected, and you have put these things together to really focus on what's causing that problem, and that also promotes a fix. And that strategy is really something that I learned both as a student in the military and later becoming an instructor supervisor, a certified instructor, and a master instructor as well. So all of this kind of rolls into with how we approach our particular training. And I think that it really kind of opens up a way for us to have some conversations about those connections to the classroom, to your classrooms as well. Our agenda today, I'm going to be your initial speaker. You can see the topics there that I'll be covering. That'll be followed by Stefania Borsia. She is going to talk about digital information. In the classroom, there's going to be some career awareness there, so that she will let you guys know what she does so that you can have some information for your students. And then she's going to go over a lesson that you guys can do in class, and she's going to give you the information that you need. And then Stasia Hardy, Dr. Hardy, she is going to speak. She's the Chief Academic Strategist for Hardy AMC, and she is really going to talk to you about Teach Beyond the Now. We realize that there is a lot of demands every day, every hour, sometimes every minute and every second in your classrooms. But we believe that an engaged student, a student who's engaged in learning, that has these real world, career-oriented things that they can do in class, that's also tied to your standards, that also tied to your benchmarks, that those students can be engaged and with relevant, very powerful lessons that will absorb them so that they can become learners. And it really facilitates learning in the classroom and help classroom management becomes less challenging, and even in some cases being able to increase the level of relationship between the student and the teacher. And lastly, we're going to have a STEM activity presented by STEM for Kids. They're also going to talk about their particular methodology when it comes to learning. I won't steal their thunder. So I'll let STEM for Kids completely handle that. But they're also going to have 2 lessons, and those lessons, they're also going to show you how to vertically align those lessons as well. So thank you so much for your time. I'll be back in a couple of seconds to talk about our next phase of Teach Beyond the Now and how we're looking at including ambiguity in STEM activities. And also we're talking about something that's very, very, that especially these days with as many things that are going on in our communities, and that is trauma. A lot of times we are engaged or we're faced with employees or contract employers or even team members that have suffered some sort of childhood trauma, and it's unresolved, and it just makes its way into the workplace. And I'm going to talk about 2 particular incidents, one of which I was directly involved in, and the second one is I was given the honor to help a person write about their particular story of childhood trauma and how they almost executed their plan some 20 years later. Thank you.